Hi, I'm ForNoGoodReason, and when it comes to online kinks, it's simple. Don't go after kids, don't go after animals, and typically, in the past, when asked about fictional interpretations of younger characters, I've generally encouraged to tell people you're going to put strain on yourself and those around you. But you do you. So I first found this first screenshot. So I thought to myself, maybe behind this therapy rarity mistook map that's minor attracted person as some kind of lolly cub or full title. There are, after all, a lot of impaired people online, and maybe this was just some Titanic fumble. You ever just post on Twitter without thinking? So yeah, maybe it was an out-of-context joke or a screen edit from an ex-friend. So when I got off work Saturday, I spent a fair amount of my time looking through Therapy Rarity's Twitter. First, when I tried to look into it, I had been blocked. Well, no matter, that doesn't necessarily mean that this person is a pedophile. It could have just as easily have been a Lily Pete follower, a triggered furry, or someone who was friends with one of my ex-friends. I didn't want to just assume that they had blocked me because, well, you know, there's a certain kind of people I hunt. I have a certain reputation. You know what, I'm not very good at dragging things out. Let's read this off. Page 17.
I saw a lolly today with a loose tank top, homemade jean shorts, and knee-high leggings. It was incredible enough to see her, but later she came through my line and stood like a foot away from me, almost bumping into me at one point. The fact I didn't drop dead is a miracle.
There isn't just a blur of lines between fantasy and reality. This therapy rarity is fantasizing about a kid in real life. And for context, the picture here, I believe, is from The Wolf of Wall Street, which is a movie where the main character is able to indulge in every act of debauchery to his heart's desire. I don't feel I'm giving an unfair interpretation to the content, but naturally my comment section is open down below. This is the 27th image I've screen capped.
If you're afraid or confused about this, please don't jump to conclusions. Talk to me first. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions you may have about the map community.
That's the minor attracted person. The below statement is from some poor soul who doesn't know what a map is. So, therapy rarity. I do declare I am afraid and confused, and I will be needing to talk to you. In fact, me and several of my friends are afraid and confused. And the sooner that you can quell those fears, the sooner we can all get on with our lives. I mean, assuming that there is a reasonable explanation on why people in the Brony fandom would want to ignore you and just go back to business as usual. Let's take a break from the map thing and see if there's any other concerns. Therapy rarity might have some issues with consent. This is page 28.
Oh heavens no, I wouldn't dare risk coming off as a sexual harassing someone, though one time I went to a rave.
You know that the southern accent doesn't quite work here, I'm just gonna stick with it though. That's mistake one, going to the rave, by the way.
I got to grind my cock into a random girl's ass, cause she was high as fuck, and she was with her boyfriend who was next to her.
No, my reaction is, well, I suppose anything could happen once, though. But he continues,
though I tried it with another girl and got yelled at.
So, aside to my audience, if I can implore on you to hit upvote on and share this video, here's why. Dear Therapy Rarity, you aren't just the reason why people need to keep an eye on kids online, but you are an above average sex pest in a social offline setting. That you had the goal, the sheer balls, the dementia to rub your dick on another man's woman with him standing there. Hey, if you're a kid and you're going to a rave with your boyfriend or girlfriend, I suggest going there sober, cause, here, let me put this in a way that bronies will understand. Dear Princess Celestia, I learned not to drop some E before going to the rave with me and my girl, for her sake. Like, I try to put myself in the narrator's shoes in these situations. If your post would have said, I'm so guilty because I got so wasted and high that I did this terrible thing, and I'd never put myself in that situation again, or back in the day I was a real piece of garbage. You know what would have been a reasonable example of saying that you didn't sexually harass someone but you kinda did, is saying the wrong thing. Here, let me give you an example, is when someone goes up and says, nice tits, nice ass, or nice shoes, wanna fuck. You say the wrong thing to the wrong fucking person at the wrong fucking place at the wrong fucking time. And you get your ass kicked and maybe arrested, possibly both. Now, we can talk about whether or why people go to raves, this, that, and the other. This is you saying she's next to her boyfriend. Now, maybe you were wrong, but the point is, you went for it. You were so pleased with the outcome that you decided to roll the dice a second time that very night. As to these readings, I'm going to tackle the more imminent ones, because I know that people have a habit of losing interest. I want people to hear your golden oldies before they leave this channel. Speaking of which, here's page 21.
It's alright. I know I'm not invited to the Pride Month party yet. I'll just be quietly waving my flag from the outside.
I do believe this is the pedophile flag.
Hopefully, in time, the LGBT and my kind can rebuild the bridge that was burned between us 60 years ago and celebrate Pride Month together.
Some years ago. Boy, let's pretend that LGBT was down with that. I mean, what with BronyCon's staff's massive swelling of transgender members who refuse to make a public statement in regards to an actual pedophile on their staff. Oh wait, you were already their therapy, Rarity. Here, page 13. Don't worry, we're gonna jump around here, because I'm not done being on my soapbox about page 21. Just had a dream of accidentally wandering into a woman's bathroom, but upon realizing my mistake and getting stopped from leaving by several women who demanded I give them my cock. Fuck, now I'm really horny. I had to read that off, because it's on the same page, because why I don't normally hold people accountable for their fantasies, you did brag about rubbing your dick on 2 different girls, from your own admission. And they didn't seem all that keen or consensual about it.
I probably won't be around much in the coming couple of weeks cause I'm heading to BronyCon and need to get everything ready. After I get home, I have vlogs to edit and upload as well. I'll still talk to some of you, but RPs will probably have to be put on pause for a while.
I mean, when you consider that this post was handed to us in regards to a 16-year-old girl that BronyCon security tried to get into the pants of using his position. This is the same staff when someone vaguely misgendered a staff member. BronyCon couldn't wait to ban them publicly. We'll read that off.
BronyCon trustee.
Stop right now.
She a Goldberg.
I suppose the only thing I can ask or say is, why all the public silence? Is it so hard to say something even if brief? On BronyCon Twitter, a lot of people are frustrated with the silence and are assuming you and the staff are covering things up.
I know and understand the frustration. It's scary and easy to think the worst when an organization stays silent. When something happens where the privacy and safety of victims are at risk, our policy is not to make a public statement about it. Instead, reach out privately to those affected. Our intent is to prevent anyone who is already, shall we say, hurt additionally distressed by giving the incident as little airtime as possible and putting their confidentiality and safety first. I know this situation, this policy is tougher to understand. So much of this is public that you're probably unfortunately got used to the stress of having things open to public comment. However, BronyCon's reach is very broad, and making a statement would bring much more intense scrutiny on you than would otherwise occur. Many people would follow BronyCon's social media, aren't aware of what's happened, and the quickest way to increase the reach and likelihood of another bad actor seeing this information would be to make a statement. A lot of sensitive information about you and others is out there, and we'd like to do what we can to make sure that that doesn't get into the wrong hands or make things worse for any of you. At this point, we have additional concerns that making a public statement would come across as trying to win back goodwill rather than out of sincerity. If people choose to believe that this is part of a cover-up, that's their prerogative. Right now, we want to focus on providing support to you and getting the appropriate action taken against Grizzly. if there are other ways we can show support or help, please don't hesitate to ask.
Here's Mintheart responding to Sheer. I mean this in the kindest way possible, but with so much information already out there, I see no issue. The other victims are known, and none of us have been harassed in any way. If I'm being 100% honest with you, it's more distressing to think that BronyCon staff doesn't care enough to say something about it and intends on keeping all of these followers in the dark instead of spreading the word. I don't think my request to say something publicly would be so hard to follow. If you think people would think you were only doing this to win back popularity instead of out of sincerity, it makes it sound like you're only approaching me out of obligation and not sincerity. If you sincerely cared and wanted to help, you'd spread the word and make a public statement. I know I'd be very grateful to see it publicly addressed. I'm sure the other victims would be grateful as well. Page 4.
Others who were hurt by Grizzly have directly expressed that they've had a difficult time with publicly and appreciating things being addressed privately. You are all different people with different comfort levels. We want to make sure the people who are the most vulnerable and least comfortable with the publicity are not going to be hurt further. Ultimately, there is probably nothing I can say that will change your opinion. I apologize that a public statement isn't something we will be doing. Again, encourage you to let me know if we can do anything else.
What the hell have you done?
Even if we aren't expressing care in the way you would like, I and many others care very much about making sure justice is served appropriately. I need to head to bed, but I'm happy to talk to you further in the morning if you'd like.
I don't believe they ever talked to Mint again. Well, alright. I know I don't want to cause more stress to others, to other victims, especially not the youngest of us. Not much else to say at this point. Have a good night. Let's cap that off here. This is Leo Convoy's response to Mintheart, who made the remark here in public on Twitter. Mintheart's first reading. The more I read over my conversation with Sheer from BC staff, the more uncomfortable and confused I became. It comes across as trying to steer me away from speaking out about Grizzly, speaking out about the Grizzly thing more, and even makes me a bit doubtful to put this out there. I'm hesitant to speak up about this. I'm even shaking a bit, uncommon for me unless I'm really nervous or scared. I don't want to be silenced. I don't want to be hesitant because I want people to know, but I also don't want to hurt the others. Should I stop talking at this point? And here is your moral authority and mine, Mr. Leo Convoy. No, you keep talking. Don't let this clown guilt you into silence. If I could paraphrase from Leo Convoy, these clowns, these specific people running BronyCon, will, in all likelihood, do very little to come forward about this current situation about Therapy Rarity, who stated several times that they are not only a pedophile, but attended BronyCon. Just to remember, if BronyCon ever comes back, it is a safe playground for sexual predators. If you misgender quite a bit less so, but if you go after kids, BronyCon, you're gonna be A-okay. At least according to the staff. But addressing a pedophile? Like Grizzly the Medic? And now this guy? Forget about it. And yeah, back to LGBT letting in pedophiles. With aggressive behavior like this, I mean, if the LGBT community is run by BronyCon staff, it's more likely than you think. Also, the question about burning a bridge between gays and pedos about 60 years ago? Did I miss something? No, really, I want to hear the story behind this. I thought my history was pretty good, but I'm lacking on a little bit here, so yeah, comment section down below. I might even pin that comment. And this might sound like beating a dead horse, pages 2 and 3 here, but if you're parading around Twitter that you're underage and trying to associate with me, that won't fly anymore. Sorry, it's just for my own protection against villainous antis like Feather. Hi, Feather, I've talked to you on Twitter. You were very polite and I found your, posts to be very useful. I'll probably include those in a follow-up video because, oh my god, I got so much to get through. I've heard the term anti before. It's something I've heard from people like Amos Yee, anti-pedophile or anti-map. Whoever, again, Feather, I do thank you for any or all vital information, or anyone who gives any vital information about this individual. Mikasa Sukasa. By the way, dear Lunit Sorrow, let me read you off first. Holy shit, so it's true. Everyone told me the fuck. That's usually a warning sign, but hey, do go on. Here I was standing up for you by your side the entire time because I thought I was being pissy at you. Should have figured after you bitching me out after not talking to you, then blocked me before I could respond. I didn't want to believe. If you know, it's basically smacking me in the face, saying look at me, I'm right here. Thanks for blocking my Nightmare Rarity account, and now this one. Now I get to see your true colors. You need help badly. Personally, I'm skeptical of how much a predator can be truly treated by therapy and medicine. Personally, in regards to therapy, Rarity, I think a nice bit of jail time or restricted to a loony bin. But yeah, some meds and a shrink would be better than nothing. Page 3.
If you are underage, but don't make it publicly known or blatantly obvious through a lack of skills or shoddy presentation, that's fine. I'll keep it a secret because I believe you should be free to explore your own sexuality.
Like this person is fighting to continue doing this, even when people are keeping an eye on them. Him. Holy shit, I've never seen someone so cavalier about any of this. Like, if this person said this in a private message, but this is out in public, saying, if your kid assists me, I'll be your pocket pussy. Just keep it on the down low. Fuck. Did I mention this person had thousands of followers? At least 1,000. Page 4.
The last thing I want is for her to think I'm preying on anyone and use it against me, despite the fact it's their choice.
Why does that sound familiar?
To follow me, but whatever. There are people here I genuinely love here, and I can't lose them just cause some bitch has a problem with my sexuality.
I'm punching down here. So, Rarity, therapy, whatever it is, whatever. Would you tell any of this shit to the police? Any of it? Let me try and explain to you in a different way. Let's pretend I was a drug dealer and some kid is told I sell drugs. This is just a hypothetical, I don't sell drugs. I never sought that kid out in this scenario. I didn't know his name. I never wanted to know his name. I then, or whoever, sells him drugs. I, or whoever, would still be the adult in that situation. So you guys know therapy Rarity refers to those erotic roleplay sessions as therapy sessions with his clients. I'm gonna try and climb inside therapy Rarity's head here, and I'm gonna use the drug reference again. It says I'm a 14 to 15-year-old kid. Life sucks, I'm a teenager. School sucks. Hormones suck. Class sucks. You guys remember being a kid? If you drink a beer or smoke some pot, it will dull your senses and take your mind off life sucking for a bit. I'm not suggesting that kids do this. In fact, I would have killed to have had the unbridled access that kids have to movies, TV shows, anime. When I was a kid, there are other outlets to distract yourself that are far less harmful. If you're young and dumb and horny and someone is helping you fantasize that will feel like things are getting better, or at least a little less shit for a bit. There's a power dynamic between kids and adults in these situations like these. There's also this site called Coffee, or K-Fi. It's gone now, but I did do a bit of a reading in a stream from the other day. If I can grab a clip of this, or maybe even re-edit it, I'll put it in here. Hello everyone, I am Therapy Rarity. I run a not safe for work Twitter RP account where I play a version of Rarity from My Little Pony that also has a secret job as an unlicensed therapist. So Dr. Wolf, I provide any treatment my clients require. Any treatment, wink. I'm here on Coffee to raise some money so I can get some STD testing done. I've never gotten tested before, and I'd like to start being more active, if you know what I mean. Donations are required for an RP with me, and are also, oh god, so that's the racket. That must be some crazy RP that you're able to charge. Are also actively encouraged. If you appreciate what I do and want to help support me beyond your kind, sweet words, this is the place. But by no means am I forcing you, whether it's $50, $5, $1, or a penny. I appreciate you think I deserve. I love you all, darlings. Oh, Jesus. the balls! The long and the short of it is, if you could donate up to a penny to $50 to have an RP with this asshole, kids, I want this to sink in, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I'm going to treat you like an adult here for a minute. It would be a bad look to hire a hooker to sleep with you. That's embarrassing. It would be a bad scene to get involved with a pedophile. I hope you're so far agreeing with me on this, or at least imagine why you might want to. Can you imagine your friends, your family finding out that you paid your pedophile to throw you a little e-ass? Alright, before I just read these off and improvise the rest of my responses, page 18. So let's get down to the lies.
I never would be okay with or feel comfortable with doing anything in lieu with someone's children in modern day society, so it's not like something would happen. But when someone brings their children over to where I'm living, I still like to lock myself up in my room and avoid them. Not so much out of fear that I could do something to them, because to be honest, I can't even talk to adult girls.
Didn't you rub your dick on some coked up bimbo at a rave when she was next to her boyfriend? I mean, I'm just saying. Continuing on.
It's more to do with slipping up in my facade, causing their parents to get a suspicious and overreact to me.
Overreact, he says. Are you so sexually charged, so mentally bent that your thoughts about kids are so overwhelming that you're concerned that people will be able to sense this is what's going on in your head? I'm legit past talking smack. You might be the most broken man I can think of, that I've ever read about. Like, I'm a brony. I know what it's like to lose yourself in a fantasy, and I know what it's like to give in to escapism. People pretty much watching this video will be able to wrap their head around this. But you went to BronyCon, a place packed this year with over 12,000 people. Maybe it was 10,000. Still, it got the nickname Line Con because you had to wait in line to get into the fucking vendors hall. There's no way that you managed to keep yourself away from kids at BronyCon 2019.
So this is the line for the TF2 panel. It ends all the way back there, goes all the way back there, shut up, then it loops around and goes all the way up here again. So, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. I'm in here my jams.
Speaking of BronyCon.
I'm shaking, oh my god. Big night, biggest night ever.
Well, that sounds like BC.
BronyCon has several experiences for me and really opened my eyes to the many social anxieties I still have, and has really made me feel bad about all the things that I've missed out on because of it. Come August 6th, I'm gonna work on bettering myself.
Well, judging by your Twitter and just privating it and deleting this has not happened, nor will it happen. But to be honest, a lot of people on Twitter claim that they have this mind-changing moment and swear that they're gonna change, but never do. Sadly, in your case, there's a bit more on the line.
I know one of them is gonna be Starlight Glimmer, but I'll have to think about the other two.
So there is an idea of bettering themselves, if I'm reading this right, is that they're making more roleplay accounts, which typically, normally, fine, whatever. But if I need to remind the audience this person has no problem RPing with kids, some might even argue prefers it, well, I think I made my point here. I will naturally read off the rest of what I have. It'll be a little less structured. But yeah, in case you don't want to read yourself, here we go.